I've been playing a pretty fun game of one thing leads to another here over the past few weeks, going from the Fall Guy to Detroit Rock City due to music, and now going from Detroit Rock City to Fanboys due to the theme of the road trip and the connective tissue of Sam Huntington. So, if you remember my favorite movie from last year, Air, you will recall that a supportive and loving mother character goes a long way for a top marks from Mr. Super Oz. Well, after rewatching Fanboys, I have new information. It turns out that camaraderie and people coming back together also gets high marks from the channel. So after the ad read and after the open rolls, I'll break it down, my thoughts, my feelings, my understanding, and what I think of Fanboys. Whether it's your first time here or you're a regular here at Mr. Super Oz, I just want to thank you for tuning in to the channel. It exists because I, Oz, from the channel Mr. Super Oz, I wrote a 68-page graphic novel called Everlasting Survivors. Volume 1 is called All Day Long. If you follow the link in the description of this video, you can get yourself hats, shirts, posters, all kinds of fun things. But most importantly, you can get the story itself. And the more people that pick up the story, the greater the chances are that there can be continued adventures with these heroes. If you could, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment, enjoy. Fanboys came out in 2009, ran for 1 hour, 29 minutes, such a crisp time. The year is 1998, but I didn't read much more of that scrolling text because they are playing up the Star Wars fandom, and I've always thought that was hard to keep up with and not really worth pausing to read all of the information. Hello, Sam Huntington. Oh, hey, how you doing, Kristen Bell? They are both at a Halloween party. Sam's character's name is Bottler, and Bottler was a comic book artist, but he gave it up to work for his dad's empire, his car dealership empire. Hutch is one cool dude. Wasn't he also the cool uncle on the Goldbergs? And like the funny and drug-addicted best friend of Topher Grayson, take me home tonight. But anyway, this dude, Hutch, he's cool. Tell us about the ranch. This thing is just, it's so engrossing, and it brings you in. Bottler's father is a sleaze. Linus, Bottler's old comic book creation partner, creation, whatever, he's dying. He has cancer, and the odds say he has 3 to 4 months. Bottler is mad that he is just now finding out. Chaz Bottler, Eric Bottler's brother, he's not very nice to the gang of friends. Linus is mad at Bottler because he left him high and dry. I get it, guys. Having those comic book dreams, it's a struggle. Bottler has great art, and his sleazy dad interrupts him drawing and wants him to be the new face of the dealership. I really like how the universe feels real, and the hole-in-the-wall comic shop that the gang both works at and goes to follows along with a trope of Detroit Rock City, which is one group of fandom, in this case the Star Wars fans, being anti another group of fandom, the Star Trek fans, when Hutch is impolite to Star Trek fans when they come into the comic shop trying to buy a phaser gun. And I'll just have to share once again the wise words of Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret, which is, like what you like and don't be a dick. The gang plan a road trip from Ohio to California. I've done that and it is tough. Hutch is so much fun. He says, in my van, it's all Rush all the time. And when I think of Rush and people loving the band Rush, I can't help but think of I Love You Man. Another fun comedy adventure. Such a fun road trip. Hutch has taken the boys to enemy territory, the future birthplace of James Tiberius Kirk. Lucas Hound's here to mock Gene Roddenberry. Trekkie is derogatory. We prefer Trekker. I never understood that change. The boys call their friend with glasses Windows, and it is very funny. Hutch knocking over the Kirk versus Khan statue that didn't even look like Kirk or Khan, and then Seth Rogen crying out, Khan, after the statue is destroyed. That was some good stuff. Hutch's van busts a tire, and the boys walk into a bar. Things do not go smoothly. Hutch wants to intimidate these bikers, but somehow the four friends end up needing to strip for these bikers to, I don't know, because they failed at and intimidating them, so now they're being embarrassed. But then Danny Trejo to the rescue. Trejo gets the guys high, and Windows sees an Ewok humping Hutch. Danny fixes the van's tire, and they get back on track and head toward Texas because Windows, without his glasses, is going in to meet his dream girl. While all of his friends hump the window of this restaurant, his friends think the dream girl that Windows has been chatting with online is a dude, but it turns out she's actually a 10-year-old girl, which is way, way worse. Well, Butler, he wants to turn around and go back to Ohio. He's like, man, this has been a bust. And then Ethan Suplee pops in and starts beating up Windows because he's the uncle of the 10-year-old girl. I just now remembered who Ethan Supplee's friend is in Vegas, and it's a really fun gag. So now the boys are back on the road, but they get pulled over by the cops, and Linus confesses that Chief, who was played by Danny Trejo, gave him peyote. Hutch hits a button to send the van into light speed, which actually just means that he is using nitrous. Now all the guys are locked up. Kristen Bell comes to the rescue, and her character's name is Zoe. Judd Reinhold is played by Lando Calrissian. Sam Huntington's Butler, he got fired because he got pulled over, and his dad doesn't want him to be the face of the car dealership anymore. Windows is trying to ditch Zoe because in his mind, this is a boys' trip. Butler is having a moment of doubt, and Hutch tells him that he needs to take down his own personal Death Star, that one thing that you can live on forever. And he's like, that's Vegas. Vegas awaits. And so when the gang get to Vegas, all they do is watch Stargate SG-1 while they wait to meet with the scruffy nerf herder who is Ethan Supplee's ally in Las Vegas, the man who has all the answers on how to get to the Skywalker Ranch. As Linus and Butler go to meet with the contact, Windows and Hutch, they ditch Zoe as they see her as one of the guys. But clearly Zoe is into Windows. It's weird that he doesn't see it. Seth Rogen and his Trekkers are in Vegas at the bar, and when they see Butler and Linus after Hutch took out the Kirk statue, they now want revenge. Windows is talking to this random chick, and he realizes, or the chick realizes, that Zoe is into him. And that's when she reveals that both herself and the woman that is talking with Hutch are both escorts. William Shatner is the scruffy nerf herder, and he is that contact that Ethan Suplee sent the gang to go find. Windows comes in and Hutch's hour is up. He and Windows both owe a different character that Seth Rogen is playing money because he is these two chicks' handler. And it's weird because one character of Seth Rogen's is a Star Trek fan, and he's leading a gang to go after the friends, and the other one is a Star Wars fan, but he is more concerned with his money. And inevitably, both Star Trek and Star Wars Seth end up in a fight at the casino. The gang almost get away, but then Linus passes out due to his cancer. Linus is so sick, his doctor orders the gang to take him home to Ohio. Eric Butler gives a pep talk about them needing to continue, and the boys bust out of the hospital. Linus's doctor was Carrie Fisher. Linus kisses her and says, "I love you." She says, "I know." And then we see a random sighting of Jay and Silent Bob at the Lucas Ranch, and the whole crew is ready. We get to hear Rush, and then Windows uses a grappling hook that he brought on the mission to climb a fence before he lets the rest of the gang in. Zoe says she feels like they're in an episode of Scooby-Doo. When they get into the Skywalker Ranch, or Lucas's place, it is just super awesome. Lucas's security knows that they are in the archive, and Ray Park is the head of the security team, and he has 2 nightsticks, like how Darth Maul had the dual saber. It's so freaking cool. The gang jump down a hatch into George Lucas's trash room, and they get scared that the room will crush them until Butler, shows them the way out, and he finds the rough cut. I love that Windows says, "The hooker in Vegas showed me the truth. I love you." It's like, Windows, man, that's not the way to tell Zoe. All the friends have to pass a fanboy quiz, and once they pass, Linus gets to watch the movie. My favorite part is that Linus doesn't tell his friends anything about episode 1, and Butler is back to doing art at the end of the road trip. It was never about watching the movie. It was about getting back together, is something that Linus says to Butler. After Linus passes away and some time passes, all the gang that remains is out to watch episode 1, and I just love that Butler got his comic out in the meantime between the road trip and the movie releasing. It's so elusive. It's so hard to get. I think I've done this once or twice, definitely. Brandon has done it once to my recollection, maybe twice, and I'm not sure Josiah's ever given this grade out, but Fanboys, for me, is a love. It is the highest grade I can give to a movie. Not only was it enthralling with the friendship and the coming back together in said friendship, not only was it fun with the antics and the cameos, but it gives off this overarching feeling of importance when it comes to knowing that you're going to lose somebody and then subsequently losing them, and then the closing scene where Sam Huntington asks, "What if it sucks?" is just the cherry on top of a very quality and so enjoyable film. But thank you for tuning in to this review. If you haven't picked yourself up a copy of my 68-page graphic novel, there's always a link in the description of all the videos. And if you have gotten the book, then you should try and get you the t-shirt, maybe get a hat from Gamble Comics. There are posters available, all kinds of fun things. Thank you. Come back for the rest of the week for trivia and Alpha Entertainment Worldwide, all kinds of good stuff.